Hi everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about the hard shift in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So this is where we change our position on the island to give ourselves a distinct advantage in the later game. So if you look at this particular flight path on Vikendi, sort of northeast to the sort of south, means I'm going to jump far. I'm going to jump right as far over I guess I can to the west hand side of the built island. If this was Erangel or Miramar, I'd be jumping into a vehicle as well. But the problem is where will the circle go? Because ideally you want to land somewhere where you haven't got lots of enemies coming in behind you. And what you're going to see in a moment is, I'm floating down, and at this point, you don't know where the circle's going to go. But as you can see with this circle, it's gone right to the bottom right-hand side of the island, which means that in order to get there, I've got to pass through everybody who's landed on the flight path. So the idea of the hard shift is we get ourselves right down to the sort of southeast portion of the circle on the coast, so that we know there's a minimum number of people who are going to be coming in behind us, so we avoid those gunfights. Now you don't have to abandon your plan straight away, because especially on Vikendi, Erangel and Miramar, there's plenty of time. So you hit the ground, get yourself looted up, just keep an eye on that clock. But one of the critical things you need for that hard shift to give yourself that strategic advantage is you need to find a vehicle. This is so important, especially on Miramar, the really big PUBG map. So here I am, I'm just running around, keeping an eye on that circle, and then the most important thing, as you see now, is I've found myself a motorbike. So this means I can now think about maybe looting up for a bit, jumping on the motorbike and heading all the way across the island. Now the best way I think is to go around the circle. I'm just chasing the blue at this particular time. We're in the safe now, just being careful, but go round the edge of the circle, kind of sweep in. Don't just drive straight across the centre of the island, because you're going to get lots of people shooting at you, especially if you're doing this in duos or squads. Obviously this is solos. So you can kind of see where I put my marker, sort of against the coast. And again, the idea of that is we get there and there can't be anybody behind us. So when we start moving in towards the centre of the circle, we're going to be safe. We don't have to worry about running into lots and lots of people. You know that situation on Sanhok in the final circles when you're running in and you're just people to your left and your right and behind you, in front of you? Well, that can kind of happen when you cross the flight path, because remember, the majority of people, not very good motorbike rider there, the majority of people will drop on named villages and cities on the flight path, so you don't want to be crossing that. So I've got where I need to be. I'm just going to do a little bit of looting, checking that the place hasn't been looted already, checking for closed doors, that sort of thing, and then I'm going to be moving into more of the centre of the circle. Now remember, the danger with doing this is there could be people here and they would have heard you coming, so be very careful about where you stop and where you move in. So now I can kind of decide where I want to go. So I'm going to put my dot down in the centre of the circle, and then I'm basically thinking I want to go south a little bit more. Then if you draw a line from kind of where I am to the sea, there's hardly any buildings, so as I say, the chances of anyone being behind me are very low. So as long as I'm careful and I keep listening out, I should be able to have a fairly clean run into the circle. Now you are going to bump into people, who have got exactly the same idea, people who really enjoy playing the edge, because this is obviously edge play, we're just playing on the edge of the circle, we're not going to the centre or anything like that. You're going to bump into people who have been searching for supply drops, that sort of thing. Next circle has appeared. Put my dot in the middle, and I think, right, I want to probably go south a little bit more, and then just go basically straight towards the centre of the circle, but stopping on the edge. Remember, we're always stopping on the edge. And then again, what I want you to do, look at that map and then draw a line from the centre of the circle, kind of, imagine I move south a little bit to the coast, and you'll see there's no real named cities or villages. In fact, there's not many built up areas at all. So again, you've got to think, if people were looting and they dropped there and they were then moving in, would they still be there? And the answer is very unlikely. Now, as you'll see in the run up to the chicken dinner, I do bump into some people. This guy who did have a ghillie suit on, so he was probably chasing a supply drop, so he was out of position. When you get into the final circles as well, remember, people are moving around and rotating around, so it's all bets are off. You can't really rely on finding too much of a quiet circle. It's a case of moving from cover to cover and really seeing what it is. And I've got plenty of videos showing you the last 10 minutes of chicken dinners, but hopefully this has encouraged you to do that hard shift to turn a potentially difficult circle, because you're on the wrong side of the flight path, where you're going to have to go through all those other people in order to get to the circle, to one where you make a decision fairly early on to find a vehicle and move all the way around to the circle, to the quiet side with your back to the sea, and then you move in that way. Anyway, hopefully that's helped. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very much, and I will see you again soon.